Thing lately about parents using one of their children. We're not wishing it, but let's say that they use one of their children to train the other children, and then once they do, maybe they impose a little bit of blindness, and then they impose blindness, or not literal physical blindness, just a blindness of the intellect. Okay, or even just not understanding higher level languages, or not being aware of relationships. Then we were just discussing it a moment ago of the relationships, like with relatives on the phone, the special season call, okay, to relatives, and they might be special events, okay, weddings and so on, where the Canadian cast of person might meet all the relatives on a nice level, but they don't necessarily get all the details, all the the really significant amount of details, and the languages to do with them about their their function, their name function, their address function, their the ability to reach the person, to contact them and write to them, and okay, all that sort of thing. And where the mastercast person of the family might have all the details, even they don't seem to spend a lot of time with them, but they might have really good access somehow to all the details, that they might have additional levels of communications, okay, that we're not really aware of on the surface of it. So then if we say, well, that's young kids, let's leave that to the parents, and then let's say the Canadian cast person is 20, and they come to Canada, they see the maple leaf, they think, well, having a kid wherever they are, whatever situations, it looks pretty difficult. They might give it 5 try tests, okay, in school, okay, and they maybe either get a wife or don't get a wife, and then they maybe move to Canada, okay. So let's say they do that. Then somehow that ability to manage relationships has to be built up, has to be built way up. The thoughtfulness, the ability to obtain objects or artwork or symbols or programming that represent, okay, the qualities of the relationship that they value. The scheduling, there may be many things that a Canadian cast person has sort of challenges with like managing their year. Okay, remembering every date, it's important, and remember, it's important to kind of rush those things, like to get the very best set of names right away. Okay, all the relatives' names and birthdays and stuff. Look, I don't need somebody's information. It's not okay. I'm not, whatever they call that, farming or anything like that. But I'm just saying that it takes years and years and years and years and years, and that there's a learning process all the way along the way. Okay, it just keeps. There's just more and more all the way till you're 100. Okay, there's that much to learn, and then people need to really have that. Canadian cast people, okay, so there's the Canadian cast childhood, okay, and then somehow they make it from school probably, okay, and then they see the maple leaf, and they come to Canada, okay, and then they look at the Great Lakes. They see Lake Superior. That looks really slavery. Okay, the Great Lakes is definitely harnessed. There's no question, okay, about it. Heavily harnessed. So to be there might mean a job, but it also might mean the same as whatever they left behind. Like the master cast from their family mostly will contact them just as if they're just at home, like as if they just went to the mall instead of that they've gone to a different nation. Okay, like it's that way all around the world, which we see from time to time. So stories like that. And then they might look at the Hudson Bay and they might see, well, that's babies. Okay, that's definitely babies, and that's what it is, right? Like the person maybe they don't see the family directions exactly the same way as somebody else in the family. They're more on the side of liberty. If they have that perspective, mostly it's given to them by their family. So it's not like they're in conflict with their family. Okay, but they might be making a picture of how their nation's going to deliver it. How they're, okay, so something like that. So then they might come to Canada. They might look where they want to be between the Great Lakes harness and the babies without too much igloo of the Hudson Bay. And then, okay, pick a spot and see if it works for them, and maybe Canada would deliver something like that. They would have to be able to deliver somehow the person has to be able to find work, and they have to be able to find a house. Okay, and pick a girl. Okay, pick a girl, or the other way. Okay, if it's a boy, they can pick or if it's a girl, they can pick a boy. Yeah, so whatever. Anyway, so that's what we're talking about. Now we're in my imagination, the person does that, let's say, for 1, 2, or 3 generations. They're, let's say, in Hudson Bay. If it's not far enough north, they go farther north. Okay, and until they get, I'd say, by the time they're in Hudson Bay, pretty much they're going to be able to have kids, and their relatives can't be, like, throwing shows at them and using them, because the person just, like, traditionally, the person wouldn't survive. They would, okay, there's not that much people, there's not that much economy there. Okay, so now I don't know how exactly we're going to model that, but somehow we're going to model the picture of the person, that they cannot be under the influence of Octopus. Okay, because it'll just wreck their stuff too much. Then I picture, let's say, after some suitable amount of generations, that they are mostly going to want to return, okay, to the octopus lands. Okay, they return to the harness for work, return to the, it's like as if we chose the motor car with the internal combustion engine, but they could have chose a different engine. Okay, then sometimes you see that some brand makes that. Okay, for a while. Okay, they do that. Then after a while, they join again. Maybe, okay, so it's like that. That's the way I see it. Maybe it's a big thing in the future. Maybe they want to show that knowledge or preserve it, or there's something they feel it's important that they want to do. Okay, so that's what they do. They go north, they keep their knowledge, and then when it's time suitable, then they come back to the kind of the big world computation. Okay, that is the traditional way of life. Now, I had pictured them becoming more octopus, becoming more like organized, and then it's possible that there's actually geographic move, or that the children make geographic moves for university or something like that, so that they are intellectually blooming, okay, like a blossoming, and that they are hopefully preserving their wheels gently for others, that their wheel that's successful in the north remains successful. Okay, there probably if they're Canadian Chalkas, they don't know everything about that. Okay, maybe they'll automatically be in good shape. So that may be a very great thing. And then we'll build to the south. There's a chance that the picture of an octopus will change. The picture of slavery of the Great Lakes is true about relatives, but it was a great metaphor presented by farm creatures, like a horse pulling a carriage. And then we had the engine pulling the automobile for a while, the tractor pulling the trailer, okay, for trucks. And we have a lot of those kind of pictures. It kind of they call it. There's a bunch of different ways to say it, but it makes it gentler. Okay, the picture is not. It's not like a livestock for food. Then it's horses. It's not too bad. And then it's something that's not a creature. It doesn't have to sleep. It doesn't have to. Okay, so it's an easier and easier model to accept. But the child is still there. Okay, the child is still there. But then we got computers and other things like that. So the modeling becomes more and more concentrated. Hopefully, we could say there's fewer people, but it's not so in our family. It's the same. The ratio of Canadian child cast is very high. Okay, and I'm not sure what the future will bring. There's a chance it'll bring change. An improvement in conditions for those people would be that the Arctic is very successful. They get to have their families, and they get to build the future, and that the octopus path to the south for them, for their children's children maybe, that it's very successful. Somehow their level would be like the octopus distributing knowledge that is raised from birth, that is raised from before birth, the selection of names who will become the octopus, okay, part of that intellect of that person, kind of being saved, preserved in a special way that when a person returns from the Arctic, that they are building and building and building. Okay, their abilities, their children become more, and they can bring their remarkable experiences, okay, from the north to our society. It's almost a truing process where their values are really tested, really, for sure, good values. If they live an Eskimo life or something like that, I picture it being somewhat gentler, then I believe they will have a lot, okay, to bring us. Marty Holmes, Sturgeon, Ontario. It is February 20, 2018 +1.